So first, I'd like to thank the co-facilitators for all their work and for the opportunity to talk today. I want to focus in on the science policy interface, and I just want to bring up one opportunity and then to look at maybe two challenges. So groups like Future Earth, SDSN, and others are well able to put together, if you like, the groups of researchers and government people and different partners. But I feel in any science policy interface, we are beginning to talk about online knowledge and information sharing platforms. I believe that this should not be built at the center, that this should be built at the national level. And there is already an infrastructure that exists that we could use. So we suggest to establish national level sustainable development digital platforms around the world, hosted by a national library that has smart open access e-repositories run by professional librarians, and these have actually very broad coverage around the world. The vision is to blend best practice in the management of e-repositories and academic peer review systems to produce, for example, let's say national level sustainable development, say policy briefs that encourage broad participation, that translate science into policy, research that is easy to discover, crowdsource, and trace in use by all stakeholders. These platforms are easily interoperable up to the UN regional levels and thematic levels and up into the high-level political forum. So this might sound, and then these platforms can also not just host research papers, but also digital things like data sources and data, etc., and patents and all other sorts of things. Just to make the example a bit real, I mean, the vision here is to take a researcher, maybe in the University of Nairobi, who writes a policy brief, puts it in the local repository, and if it's a good idea, it gets discovered, it gets liked, it gets traced, it gets used at the national level, then it'll get used at the regional level, and will come up into the high-level political forum. So the idea is that when you see this language of enabling environments, I'd like to see it associated with participation. And this is right in it's throughout the declaration, but also in the follow-up and review. But I think we need to associate enable environments with the concept of participation. And this is obviously from the scientist perspective. Challenges. There's a sentence in The Future We Want, and the idea is what we say is our challenge is to orientate funding, research and education, and the statement is to address and incorporate in a balanced way all three dimensions of sustainable development and their interlinkages. Now, we are doing this within our Master Development Practice programs and in the partnership we use with SDSN, and it is important to us that in the declaration that there's some loyalty to the idea that there are three pillars, that is an integrated approach, that we have to look at their interlinkages. And I know this has been an issue this week, but we would say that that declaration has to hold loyal to that vision that was in The Future We Want. The last issue, or the last challenge, is that if we are, it's not easy for academics to do work on these three dimensions, blending science with social science. It's not easy to do transdisciplinary work, which is to bring in work done out in the field, particularly in partnership with NGOs. And it certainly is not easy to translate this work into policy, into a policy use, right? What we would say, if we do that and bring it to the gate, how exactly are the plans, particularly at the national level, to use this research in their planning for the SDG project? I can see how it's emerging in the high-level political forum, which is more at the center, but I would really like to ask the nation states themselves, how are they going to use the science in their approach to their implementing the Sustainable Development Goals? Okay, thank you.